Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first session or webinar of our UGREEN NASync monthly webinar series. So we're going to have this webinar every month during, I would say, in the middle of the month, and we'll go over all the new features and as well as hardware that we release over the next few months. And also, we'll just have this webinar as an education to explain about how our NAS works and how the software works. NASync is our new um, line of products that's focused on network attached storage. And we're going to have more and more products we're going to release over the next few years. And then we're really excited. So this webinar is focused on education as well as information about new products and services that we release. My name is Deval. I'm the product manager at UGREEN NAS. I'm joined with Jonathan, who is the marketing manager as well. And we are thrilled to have you all here today. So this series, as I mentioned, is all about helping you understand how UGREEN NASync simplifies data protection, file management, and collaboration. Whether you're a small business, creative professional, or an IT integrator, this is a perfect device for you. All right, so let's get started. So let's start with the basics of what is a NAS exactly and why should you care. NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. Think of it as a private cloud that keeps your data secure, centralized, and always accessible without monthly subscription fee. It's a perfect for both personal and SMB users or business users who need a reliable, cost-effective way to store, share, and protect data. So again, it's a not. So the main thing is you don't have to pay any subscription fees. So if you, for example, if you subscribe to Google Drive or OneDrive or any other services like Dropbox as well, you have to pay monthly subscription fee, and your storage capacity is really less as well, depending upon how much you pay. So like, a NAS is basically a replacement for that, but it's your own personal cloud, and there's no subscription fee. Right, so many people still rely on external hard drives or public cloud services to store their data, but there's an issue. Hard drives can fail, and cloud subscription can add up really fast. And there's, again, you have to keep paying if you want to get access to your data. Once you stop paying, then then you lose access to your data. With UGREEN NAS, you get the best of both worlds. Local performance, so it's like a direct attached storage type thing, where you can get access really fast to your data, and also privacy as well. Remember, it's on your local network, so it's on your local device. And also plus the flexibility of remote access. So you can actually access your data using the UGREEN NAS sync and access it whenever you're on the go. And also your own data, period. So it's on your own device. So that's the important part. So you can see the comparison table right here, NAS versus cloud. You can see that you just have the one-time purchase fee that initially is going to be high for sure, but then once you start adding up, especially when you go to multi-terabyte, right? You can see the 12 terabyte for 2 years is already $1,500 versus just one-time fee or a 12 terabyte of your own device. Again, it's huge and scalable. Not only NAS is just small device, you can actually add right now, there's 30 terabyte on a single bay. So 30 terabyte on a 4 device, that's almost just 120 terabytes, right? 120 raw capacity. We actually have an 8-bay NAS as well. So it's really flexible, really huge and scalable. And versus cloud is limited and flexible. So you can add capacity, but that's going to also quickly add on to your cost. Transfer speed is ultra fast because it relies on your local network. It's actually really fast. Whereas compared to cloud storage, even when you're at home, you have to rely on your internet speed to download massive capacities of the data. On the other hand, external hard drives. If you compare that to your external hard drive, it's on your local device on a single device. Basically, you have to attach your external hard drive to a Mac or a Windows computer, and you can only access it on that computer. Whereas on a NAS device, it's on the network. So you can actually access it from anywhere in your house or your business. And you can also access it when you're on the go. And you can actually have multiple people accessing the same data at the same time. You can also do backups and redundancy for multiple computers. And also you can add expansion options in the future for NAS. Right, so a NAS is just a storage. It's a productivity hub. You can actually centralize your file for easy access. You can actually keep all your file across one device instead of having multiple USB, SD cards, USB flash drive, external hard drives. You can just centralize all your files for easy access. Your data is protected because it's on a RAID and encryption. You can actually, so even if you lose a drive, your data is still safe. Compare that to an external hard drive, because it's a single hard drive. If that drive gets corrupted or that or fails, you'll lose access to all your data. Versus on a RAID system, let's say for example on a 4-base system with RAID 5, we actually can lose up to one hard drive, and your data is still safe. And on a larger system like an 8-bay, you can actually go with RAID 6. You can actually lose up to 2 drives at the same time. Your data is still safe. And also encryption. So if you want to really encrypt your data, you can actually do the Vault app on the NAS, and you can encrypt that data in case of in case if your NAS is stolen or lost. And also, it's a multimedia hub. You can stream your videos, your movies, your photos across multiple devices or onto a TV directly as well. And we are now one of the few NAS manufacturers that actually have an HDMI port. You can actually connect a TV directly to your NAS, and you can stream your content. Just your private collection stored on your private device. You can collaborate for work purposes. You can collaborate in real time with permission controls. You can actually have multiple users created on a NAS device, and you can actually collaborate together on the same device. And you can have permission control, whereas you can actually have certain people only access certain folders, versus others don't have access to that folder. And you can actually have advanced applications. So we provide virtual machines or Docker containers to be able to set up on that device. So you can actually add multiple additional applications of your choice that you can actually enhance your NAS's functionality. It's the foundation of digital resilience for modern work and home environment. Now let's talk about what UGREEN NASync stands for or stands out. So we focus on 3 main areas: speed, power, and simplicity. With 10 gig networking, dual Thunderbolt 4 ports, and 12 Gen Intel processors, you have clean and intuitive interface and delivers enterprise task performance in a form that's accessible to everyone. Again, it's blazing fast performance. You have dual 10 gig ports on multiple devices. Sorry, single 10 gig port, dual Thunderbolt port, and HDMI port as well. We have Intel processors or 12 Gen Intel processors and multi-core processors for if you want to run multiple virtual machines or multiple applications. And we have expandable DDR5 RAM, so it's really fast and can have multiple, and then can be great for multitask processing. And we have M.2 NVMe SSDs to speed up read and write performance. Our interface is smart and friendly as well. You have all-in-one inclusive application with user-friendly interface and all-in-one functions you need. It mimics more of a phone, because now everyone is more used to having a phone in your hands, on your pockets, and they're more used to the app-like interface. UGREEN does exactly that. Our interface is more as a phone app rather than a complex device or a complex operating system with having installation that requires multiple installation steps, or you need to run command lines, or need to understand command lines. None of that. You just install the application on your computer or your phone, and you have access to all of your data. And versatility of storage. You have servers for local storage, encryption, data security, RAID redundancy. Everything is supported on that device. Compatibility is another key advantage. UGREEN NAS supports a wide range of drives from Seagate, Western Digital, Toshiba, and SSDs from Samsung, Kingston, and others. Unlike other brands, we don't lock you into proprietary drive. You get the freedom to build and get the best value setup for your workflow. So again, unlike other systems where they can lock you into a specific drive, especially for enterprise task devices, we don't lock you into a specific device. You can see the QR code. You can see all the list of compatible drives that we have, and you can see all of them are there. You can also get the best value because you can find Samsung or Seagate or Western Digital on a, let's say, on a deal on Amazon or B&H, and you can get those since we don't lock you into a specific vendor. All right, so let's take a quick look at a powerful hardware. Right, under the hood, NASync is built to perform. We provide dual Thunderbolt 4 or USB 4 ports, so you can actually connect your computers directly to your NAS and be able to access your data, or you can actually edit off of it. You can actually get fast access to your data when you connect it directly via the Thunderbolt 4 ports or USB 4 ports for Mac and for PC. We have dual 10 gig ports on many of our units. You can actually have multiple users collaborate using the dual 10 gig port. You can actually combine them to get 20 gig ports if it's a compatible switch. And we have 12 Gen Intel processors and DDR5 RAM up to 64 gigs of expandability to ensure smooth multitasking even under heavy loads. We can actually run multiple virtual Dockers, virtual machines, because we have multi-core, up to 10 cores and 12 threads on our high-end units they can actually have for that device. All housed in a sturdy aluminum chassis that's both durable and elegant. Every UGREEN NASync system is engineered for long-term reliability, not just performance on day one. Our industrial-grade aluminum design chassis keeps the system cool and durable. So it's not just looks good or looks cool, but it also helps with keeping a system cool, the hard drive cool, so you can actually have high performance even under heavy loads. We use next-gen DDR5 memory, expandable to 64 gig, ensuring smooth multitasking and future-proofing your growth. No more DDR4 or DDR3 older technology. And with plentiful connectivity with 10 gig USB ports, built-in SD card slots, for creative and professional can offload and backup and edit faster than ever. So if you have an editor or photographer and you have a lot of SD cards, you can just plug it to the front of the NAS and quickly get access to your data and start your work efficiently. It's powerful, efficient, and built to deliver consistent performance for years to come. All right, let's take a look at some data protection and backup strategies with UGREEN NAS. Right, so data loss is not just a matter of if, but when. Remember, these are still mechanical drives. Every mechanical drive would fail, I would say 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years down the line. So from accidental deletion to ransomware, the risks are real, which is why backup strategies are critical. All right, so NASync makes it easy to implement industry standard protection like 3-2-1 backup rule, 3 copies of your data on 2 different mediums and 1 offsite. So again, the cost of data loss is really high. When you talk about personal, your photos and videos are all stored on the NAS. So if you lose that, imagine how costly that would be. And if it's professional, you have a lot of customer data, a lot of I would say a lot of customer data. A lot of your custom or your business documents are stored on the NAS. If you lose that, imagine the financial loss that you could face, or damage to reputation and legal consequences. Because remember, customers would trust you with your data, so you have to be really keep in mind that that's the most important thing in your business as well. So here's how that works in practice. Your main computer is the first copy, right? So your computer or whichever device you're working on is the main copy. Your UGREEN NAS is the second copy. And the third copy could be an external USB drive or cloud backup. This approach ensures redundancy. Even if one device fails or compromised, your data still remains recoverable. So let's say if you lose access to your computer, you still have 2 copies, right? One on the NAS, the other one is off-site. So let's say if you lose the NAS, you still have the main computer, or you have one off-site. If you lose, so the reason for having an off-site backup is in unfortunate incidences where you have fire or flood, or you lose the main copy, which is the computer, as well as the NAS, because they're on the same location. The off-site will come into play because you have one off-site that can back up, you can restore from. That's why if you back up to an external hard drive, you have to ensure that you take, once the backup is finished, take it offsite so it's not on the same location. Now, the best way to do offsite is always go to cloud, and UGREEN has the application to do it for you. You can back up everything to the cloud, or you can sync it everything to the cloud, so you have access to that data in case if you have disaster occurring at the location. For Windows and Mac OS, users backup is really simple. On Windows, you can just use the file history tool or dedicated backup software within the system to be able to back up your Windows computers. And for Mac, we have integrated with Time Machine. So you can just use NASync with Time Machine to recover anything that you want on a Mac computer and just use Windows tools. We also have an application that can back up your files on the Windows computer as well. Once configured, the system automatically backs to the NAS, giving you peace of mind with zero manual effort. So this is just one-time setup. Once the one-time setup is finished, everything is automatic. You don't have to worry about when your backup is finished, or if your backup is available or not. You set it up one time and everything is finished. To add offsite copy, simply connect the NAS to an external hard drive to the NAS. Schedule backup automatically. So you have a physical redundancy that can be restored elsewhere, ideal for disaster recovery. So we have the option to back up onto an external hard drive. So you have to make sure that you do that. But you have to store this external hard drive in a secure environment, offsite location like a safety deposit box. Friends have you have another site, office site as well. So you have to make sure that you back up that to another location. And if you prefer cloud, which is what I would recommend because that's more simple, more easy, and more automatic. NASync supports file services like OneDrive, Google Cloud, or hybrid cloud backups. This gives you offsite accessibility and collaboration. But remember, for large data sets, on-prem NAS remains faster and most cost-effective. So the cloud backup services is more like a backup option. It's more for backup because if you really need fast access to your data, you still have to download that. So an on-prem NAS is still your best resources if you want to work off of your data. But backup is really important as well. So OneDrive, Google Drive can help you back up all your data into cloud. And mistakes happen. So someone deletes a folder, overwrites a project, or gets hit by ransomware. NASync's snapshot feature lets you roll back your data to a previous point in time, almost like a time machine for your files. Just pick a snapshot, restore, and you're back in business in seconds. So if someone else accidentally deletes your data, or if you hit ransomware, you just use the snapshot feature on the NAS to be able to restore back in time before the attack happened or before you deleted the file to get access to your file directly. All right, now let's look at some advanced features in terms of security. All right, beyond backup, NASync includes advanced capabilities from app hosting to virtualization, all under UGOS Pro operating system. So security is a core focus. Multi-factor authentication, firewall rules, IP blocking, and regular firmware updates help keep your data safe. So security, here are some best practices for security, right? So security is the foundation of any reliable storage strategy. And NAS holds critical business and personal data that we talked about before. So we built UGOS Pro, which is the built-in operating system with multi-layer of protection. Strong passwords and multi-factor authentication to block unauthorized access. Configure your firewall and IP blocking to control inbound connections and stop suspicious logins. And always keep your firmware up to date. And it's one of the simplest, most effective defenses against emerging threats. Remember, this is still an operating system, right? Just like Windows, Mac, there's always some security holes that we find in the operating system. That's why you always have to update these operating systems whenever they implement a new security fixes. Just like those OSs, UGREEN is no different. We always keep our operating system up to date always release new updates immediately if you find something that that we know that may cause security issues in the future. So you always want to keep your apps and operating system up to date. Strong password and multi-factor authentication. So we want to make sure that you always have strong passwords. Okay, so unique passwords, complex passwords, no uh, birth. I would not recommend using your birthday as your password or your name as your password. Just use a random complex strings of numbers and letters and even symbols. I would aim at least 12 to 16 characters and never reuse a password for other online accounts, because once one of them is compromised, they can get access to other accounts as well. And always use multi-factor authentication. UGREEN allows you to do that. So you can actually use extra layer protection by adding a code that they need to enter once they enter the username and password. So let's say even if they guess your username and password, they still cannot access your data because they need to get the code, which is a live code that is on your phone, and they need to enter. Without that code, they cannot get access to your NAS. And you can enable that under account security under multi-factor authentication. And firewall and IP blocking. So we have added a firewall function on the UGREEN OS operating system. Your NAS is built in with firewall that acts like security guard, controlling what traffic can enter or leave your NAS. Only allow necessary connections like local network or specific remote access if configured. So if you want to keep your NAS only for local and don't want to have remote people accessing, you can also do that as well. And you can also block IP blocking. You can actually have specific internet addresses you can block access to your NAS in case if you see they're trying to reach into your NAS. You can configure that under firewall or security access under control panel of your NAS. Understanding and mitigating threats. So again, ransomware is a real threat that you can actually have that everybody faces, right? Even big companies, governments, they all have these issues that that they may have get access, or they may have hit with ransomware, because malicious software can encrypt your files and demand payment. Unless you pay, only then they get access to your data. Remember, what they would do is they will start, once they get access to your NAS or your data, they will start encrypting that, and that's a 256-bit encryption. So you cannot easily encrypt that data unless you have a password. So that's really important. So mitigation is regular backups, especially offsite backups, and immutable snapshots. So you have snapshots that you have on the NAS, strong security, and avoid suspicious links and downloads. So never click on anything that you don't recognize. So make sure that you always ensure that, and especially make sure you have a regular backup, especially cloud backups or USB backups, and you have a strong security as well. Unauthorized, somebody gain access without permission. So strong passwords and multi-factor authentication, firewall will all allow you to be able to keep your access safe. And keeping the software updated, as I mentioned before, make sure you have the UGOS firmware up to date and all the apps up to date as well. And you can always have that automatically done on the UGREEN NAS. And system maintenance, just like your car, you need to make sure regularly check your NAS. And we have a monitoring app that gives you access to all your hard drives, ensuring that everything is good to go. And if you have anything like, for example, if you have a NAS CPU usage is really high, or RAM usage is really high, and you're not using any application, that could mean that somebody has unauthorized access to your NAS and maybe trying to encrypt your data, or maybe trying to do something that should not be running on that device. So making sure that you always keep Task Manager check every once a week or once a month, keep an eye on it, and it also gives you access to hard drive health status as well. Remember, as I mentioned before, these are mechanical drives, so eventually down the few years down the line, they may start to fail. So this is an application that will keep access or keep you up to date if hard drives are running normally, or there's a warning status, or there's a fail status as well. And then making sure you check the NAS's health, as I mentioned, CPU, RAM usage, disk temperature, system logs to make sure that there's no errors, or anything that is going on your device. And then firmware updates and power management. So you have to make sure you check for your firmware updates for new security, new features, or security updates. Always go to and check your regulatory and control panel and update and restore settings. In power management, you can actually have scheduled power on and off. So with UGOS, you can actually turn off the NAS at night automatically to save energy, and you can turn it back on in the morning when you want to use your NAS. You can actually do this automatically. So every day at night, maybe at midnight, it will turn itself off. And during your work hours, let's say 8 in the morning, you can turn it back on automatically. And also recommend using UPS for uninterrupted power. So in case if there's a power outage, not only we keep the NAS on until there's a safe way to shut it down, and also making sure that it does not corrupt the data, especially when you're writing using the UPS. So, and then so if you need support resources, we have our website. You can look at UGREEN website. We have many FAQs, knowledge bases, and troubleshooting guides specific to your models. We have tutorial videos as well on our YouTube channel to give you walkthrough guides on how to use your NAS or how to use a specific feature. And don't hesitate to reach out to our contact as well through email or phone. And then you can check our website for more details. And just make sure that you have your NAS model and firmware update and what you're trying to call about in front of you already when contacting us. And let's look at our NAS model lineup. So here, our entry-level NAS, which is a 2 and 4 bay NAS. And as you can see on the right side, we have a 2 bay, 4 bay NAS, DXP2 2800, which is a 2 bay NAS with Intel N100 processor, 4-core, 4-thread processor, 8 gigs of DDR5 RAM, expandable up to 16 gigs, and maximum capacity with 30 terabytes is up to 76 terabyte capacity. With DH400, 4300 plus, it's an ARM core processor. It's an entry-level processor with 8 gigs of DDR4X with up to 120 terabytes of capacity. DXP 4800, 4 gigs of 4 bay N100, same processor, 2800, but it's a 4 bay device, 8 gigs of RAM. So these are entry-level devices with 2.5 gig port built in, so no more 1 gig ports. These are great for centralized file and storage and sharing. So if you need a file server, this is a perfect fit for your local business, for file server, for home. It's a great small device for storing your photos and videos. You can actually also stream off of this because it's an Intel N100 processor, which comes with the GPU processor, especially the 2800 and 4800 NAS devices. It's really great for streaming 4K content as well. These are great devices for automating your backup and disaster recovery. You can back up your phones, your computers, your Mac onto this device. It's a lightweight virtualization or Docker hosting, so it cannot run heavyweight virtual machines, but if you have a lightweight virtual machine or Docker that you want to run, you can actually quickly run that as well. It's a remote collaboration hub. If you just want to have access to your remote users, this is a great device for that. And it's a surveillance video recorder. It's not a recorder, but it's a storage. It's for storage. So if you have an external NVR and you want to record your data, like Hikvision or Access devices, because those can record onto an external device, these can be a great device as well. And for MSP, you can have MSP deployment for remote monitoring as well. Then we have our performance series devices for demanding environments. DXP 4800 Plus, which comes with Intel Pentium, a 5-core 6-thread processor, 8 gigs of DDR5 RAM. You have a 6-bay Intel i5 series processor, 10-core 12-thread, and the last one, I think I made a mistake. It's an 8800 plus model, which is an 8-bay Intel i5 processor, 8 gigs of RAM. So those are our 3 performance devices, great for creative, IT professional, advanced workflows. Okay, for creatives, you can actually do 8K, 4K raw photography and audio projects. You can edit off of this device as well. The 6-bay and 8-bay comes with dual Thunderbolt 4 and USB 4 ports. You can actually connect your computer directly on to these devices, and you can edit off of that as well. If you have AI or ML that you want to run, you have a large data set that you want to run for training, you're going to use these devices because you can see on the right side maximum capacity is over 100 terabytes on the 4-bay and over 250 terabytes on our 8-bay unit using 30 terabyte drives. Virtualization, you can run high performance VMs, high performance Docker containers for home labs, for dev and testing. So if you have a testing that you want to done, that you would like to do, you can actually run high performance virtual devices off of this. Enterprise backups, you can actually have multi-tier backup strategies with snapshot versioning and offsite sync. Multi-user collaboration, you can actually enable file sharing, permission controls, home lab deployments. If you have a home lab, you can actually use this for virtualization and network services. You can host multiple containers using this device. And then for MSPs, you can have a scalable nodes for client-side backup, monitoring, and disaster recovery. So for MSPs, you can provide them a local device for on-prem storage and for on-prem data access, and you can remotely monitor them, and you can also do remote access as well as you can actually do a remote backup as well. All right, so that's all for our NAS sync introduction. I'm going to hand it over to Jonathan, who's going to talk about a partner program.
How's it going, everyone? So I'm Jonathan. I'll be going over our partner program. Our partner program is designed to give our partners and resellers the tools and support to thrive in the competitive storage landscape. When you partner with us, you immediately unlock 4 key benefits. So one of them is deal registration. So you can submit your deals and secure your pipeline. You'll get dedicated account managers. You can get personalized support from our experts, ready to help you navigate sales, technical questions, and everything in between. We have not for resale NFR units. So you can experience our products firsthand, use them, test them, and provide truly confident and informed recommendations to your clients. We'll also have partner activities and events, so you can network with your peers and gain valuable market insight at our exclusive partner-only event. Plus, we'll keep adding more benefits to the partner program. Another big key incentive is our monthly raffle. So to show our appreciation to all of our authorized UGREEN NAS resellers, you're automatically entered into our monthly reseller raffle, and the prizes are up to $300. So it's just our way of showing our appreciation for all of our resellers. And then, so for every deal registration or qualifying deal registration, you also get extra entry. We made it simple to get started. On your screen, you'll see a few QR codes. We'll keep this up for a minute so you can scan them. You can scan these right now to do 3 things immediately. You can register for our partner reseller program. You can submit a deal registration, and you can submit a sales. Also, while you're at it, register for our reseller newsletter and follow us on LinkedIn. This is your essential free source for staying ahead. We'll provide you with everything you need, what's new, upcoming events, chances to win prizes, key insights into our product solutions, and case studies, and also reviews to help boost your sales. So partner with us for better margins, dedicated expertise, and a chance to win every month. So register today to start locking in your success.
All right, so the last thing remaining is just a quick demo of our operating system. So let me switch over to another screen. One more minute. And then we'll head off to our Q&A session. I forgot to mention, if you have any questions, you feel free to put them in the Q&A section so we can start answering those. We already have 2 questions. I'm going to actually answer them quickly for you. While I try to set this up for you. Hello, Frank. Yeah, good afternoon from NYC. Good afternoon to you as well. It's Pacific Standard Time, so it's still the morning for us. And then the other question from Frank again is 10 gig port, can we still connect to a 1 gig switch? Yes, you can actually connect to a one computer. These are 10 gig RJ45 ports, so these can go up to 1 gig as well as even lower as well. And then sorry. And then yeah, you can actually connect to 1 gig switches as well. How does UGREEN, another question we have from Carson is, how does UGREEN plan to sustain long-term development security updates for UGOS without subscription revenue, especially compared to competitors with more mature platforms? Actually, a good question. So the best way to answer is that, again, UGREEN is actually still a new line of products, but UGREEN actually is a company that we actually are not new. We actually have, we've been there for many years. We've been doing business in more of accessories. So if you probably heard about UGREEN cables, UGREEN product line like docking stations, adapters. We also have switches as well. We do a lot of those products. That's actually our main product line. But we have started focusing more on NAS product line, before we came up with this product line, we actually were working on this for a few years before to ensure that we actually have a base software that actually has most of our functions. So, and now we're actively trying to take more feature requests from our other platforms. Other platforms are Reddit. Now we started a webinar series, so once you put in a lot more questions here, we'll start taking these as a feedback to actually grow our platform. And then we also would look at the competition as well, and then we try to make sure that we actually have a similar feature sets that we have, and then whatever that's most required. So we take a lot of these feedback and then start growing our platform. But you can actually see our base operating system is already really mature enough and it actually has most of the functionality that the users would use. But again, we will keep growing. Again, we've been there. The NAS sync has been there for about 2 years in the US, but overseas has been there for about a few more years before that. So we know the NAS product line quite well already, but we want to make sure we learn more. So these are the platform we'll be using to get more feedback. Another question is, what safeguard does NASync have to ensure data integrity when third-party cloud APIs are updated and deprecated without warning? That's actually a good question. I would actually have to rely this question over to our developers. I think the way they have is they would get updates from the development from that cloud platform, because we do have great partnership with them. And then they will provide us with the updated API. We also constantly keep checking the logs on our platform to ensure that there's no errors on these devices or any of the sync, because we do run constant testing of these cloud platforms in the background while we have them enabled into the main platform. So we do keep running tests and keep checking the logs. If we see any errors, that probably means that there's some API issues, and we'll start working with the cloud vendors to ensure that we get updated as soon as possible. Another question is with Zeta is, does your Thunderbolt port be used for direct connection to the NAS? Yes, as I mentioned before, you can connect a Thunderbolt 4 or USB 4 cable between a computer and the UGREEN NAS, and you can actually access the data as if it's direct attached. So you cannot get a best of both worlds. So if the NAS is connected to the network, you can actually have it over the network, actually have it connected directly. So if your computer is right next to your NAS, just plug it in directly, get even faster than 10 gig connectivity as well, especially if you're using NVMe drives for remote access. You can actually quickly access and get fast access to the data. So these are the questions we have so far. I'm going to switch over to my other screen, and then we can start working on the. All right, perfect. So this is our NAS operating system. You can see right here. Now, what makes it apart is actually, as you can see, if you've used another manufacturer's NAS, the way you access it, you have to access it via a web browser. But with UGREEN NAS, you can actually do that already. You can actually enter the IP address of your NAS to a browser and you can actually access it. But we give you an all-in-one client. You can actually download it from our website under Download Center, and you can actually have access to things like a UGREEN client app. Once you install it, you get access to your NAS. I'm going to log off. See right here, it's a UGREEN application. It's a multi-function application that will give you access to your web browser functionality, so you can see all the NAS applications right here. You can actually access your files from your NAS. You can actually access control panel. You can actually access all of this functionality directly from this client. But also, you can actually set up sync as well. So sync and backup directly from this application. So let's say, for example, if you want to back up your computer, you just go to sync and backup, and then you can click on backup and restore. You can create a backup. You can click on backup this computer, and this will start backing up any data from this computer. And you don't have to install another third-party client or another client to be able to. You just do a backup. You can just use the same application to do a backup. Even for sync as well, you can actually click on sync, and you can actually create a sync job between this computer. So and you can create a two-way sync job, just like so. For example, this is a great example for if you have a Dropbox, OneDrive, or Google Drive, right? So you have an application that you have on the computer, and you can actually and there's a folder inside your computer. Whatever upload you do on that folder, that automatically gets uploaded to, let's say, OneDrive or Google Drive or other services. And whatever upload you do directly off of that OneDrive or Google Drive gets uploaded back to your computer. It's exactly the same function. With two-way sync, if you have a folder on the NAS and you have a folder on the computer. So let's say, for example, I just have the documents folder in OneDrive and a folder on my NAS. So whatever uploads I do on this folder gets uploaded back to the computer. Whatever uploads I do on the computer uploads back to my NAS. And on top of that, if you have a phone with the same account, you can actually access the same data on the phone. If you upload something on the phone, it gets uploaded back to the NAS and the computer. So you can do two-way sync. You can do a one-way sync from the NAS to the computer, or just computer to the NAS. So you can do all of that as well. You can sync to another UGREEN NAS as well. So that's the sync and backup application that we have. You have the files application. You have the storage application to set up your storage. You can see all the hard drive information right here. You can click on storage to see your storage. You have two system pools, sorry, two storage pools. One is the SSD pool for my M.2 drives, and one is my storage pool 2, which is my hard drive. And you can actually have two volumes. And the UGREEN supports BTRFS as well as ext4 file format as well. So you can actually, when you create a new volume, you have the ability, or storage pool, you have the ability to choose file format as well. And you can see all the external you have the hard drive. You can see the temperature as well as the smart status of that drive. And you can check the status, the smart status plan as well. So if you have a new plan, you want to test the hard drive and frequency of when to test these, you can set up a plan as well, and you'll start testing the hard drive for you. And the advanced settings, you have the bad sector of system warnings. If there's a bad sector detected, they will let you know. And if you have an external hard drive, you have the ability to check here for the connection as well as accessing the data as well. You have the file. So the UGREEN NAS supports file versioning. Once you enable file versioning under settings, you can enable that. You can actually have, you can actually check the versions of your files. You can check the version history and check if you have multiple versions. You can download that particular version back. If you make any wrong edits, you can actually do the file version and restore back in time as well. And we also have snapshots as well You can actually enable snapshots. You can go to settings and you can actually enable snapshot plan. You can do an everyday snapshot, every week snapshot, every month snapshot, and you can run on a frequency as well. And you can also let retention time as well. So I just want to last 30-day snapshot or amount of snapshots. If you're taking a snapshot every day, so retention is 30 days. So you can go back in time for last 30 days, or you can actually increase that as well to last 60 days as well, and confirm that so you can actually go back time much further than that. And then you have the app center right here. Sorry, that's on center. Sorry, the app center right here. You can actually install or add multiple application or add multiple functions of on the UGREEN application as well. So that's the feature set that we have right here, and we're gonna keep adding a lot more. This webinar, the demo that we have, is just a quick overview. I do plan to have monthly webinar, as I said before, to keep. So we'll start diving deep onto each of the functions that I've been mentioning right here, and then we'll have more deeper dive on these functionality as well. So as I mentioned, you can run one virtual machine off of. You can set up new VM. I have Windows 11 VM. We can actually import a VM from an img file, vmdk file, or VDR file, or from OVA file as well. Or you can actually create a virtual machine manually. So I have two Windows. So I have a Windows 11 and Word IO ISO uploaded. Hit next. Select which volume. Hit next, and then you can select what type of VM is it, and then you can start adding like how many cores. It's a 10-core VM, so it's how many cores you want on that particular VM, how much memory do you want on that VM, and then disk setup as well, network setup as well, and you can also do Word IO on these as well if you want to have better performance. And then under advanced, you can actually enable USB as well, and then bootstrap UEF BIOS or the older version of BIOS, and then auto start and language as well. So you can set up these on our UGREEN device. And then, as I mentioned, we can add more functionality with Docker container. So we can actually add more Dockers or more containers as well. And you can see the image database. You can actually see thousands and thousands of Dockers that you can actually add. You can actually run Ubuntu Docker, SQL Dockers, Mongo Dockers, a lot more options you have to Docker containers that you actually do. You can actually create your own Docker as well if you need to as well. And I would say that would be a quick introduction to the UGREEN NAS. I'm gonna stop the screen sharing and go back to our Q&A section if you have any access. So another question we have is, can I block access to the NAS by region? Actually, let me show you a quick way to do it. So on the control panel, and then under security, the firewall, you can actually enable firewall, actually enable a new rule, and you can actually say deny and the location, and you can select a specific location and just enable any of these locations and click OK, and that will stop blocking all of the IP addresses from that region. So that's, yes, you can actually block region access as well using the firewall option. All right, and we have another question from Frank. Can we back up UGREEN NAS to Wasabi? Wasabi is not included right now, but we are working on it. Wasabi. So if you see the cloud access option right now, we have a lot more less options that we have for cloud backups. But we are actively working on these two. Right now we have OneDrive, Google Drive, Quark Drive, Aliun Drive, Audio Network, and 115 Drive. But we're gonna start adding more drives, more cloud options, including Wasabi. Let me get more information about the raffle. So let me hand it over to Jonathan.
Yeah. So for our monthly raffle for the resellers, by being a registered reseller, you're automatically entered every month. And then for every authorized deal registration, you'll get one entry. Plus, by subscribing to our reseller newsletter and our LinkedIn, you'll also get an extra entry for those. And the prizes for those will always be up to $300, and the winner will be announced at the end of the month.
All right, so think those are the main questions that we have today. Any other questions that you guys have? We're going to stay online for a couple of more minutes. There's no further questions. Then thank you all for joining our first webinar. Hopefully that this was a quite informative webinar. If you guys want to see something specific on the next webinar or on the future webinar series, just let us know, and then we'll modify the webinar to ensure that we meet that particular topic as well. Pull up our QR code. So these are the QR code. If you want to reach us for sales inquiry, deal registration, the sales inquiry can also give us. We can also reach us at. If you want to just have feedback for us as well, sales inquiry is a good way to provide us feedback. You can also reach us through LinkedIn as well. And if you want access to newsletter, deal registration, reseller registration, you have the QR codes right in front of you. All right, looks like no further questions. So thank you all for joining our webinar. We really appreciate your time. We're going to stay for a few more minutes again if you guys want to talk to us or if you have any further questions. But that will be it for today. Thank you all.